Good morning, guys. Or at least it's morning when I'm filming this. So, today I wanted to do a video on something that I felt the Lord really placing on my heart to talk about. Um, I pretty much just woke up, if you can't tell with my hair, but it's fine. I really just wanted to film this video. Like, as soon as I started feeling this message kind of come to mind. And this is something I've maybe said in like other videos, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. Um, Today I'm going to be talking about love, but I'm more going to be talking about love in general rather than the Lord's love. I'll definitely talk about that some, but yeah, I really just this morning I felt the Lord really pressing on my heart to talk about love and the beliefs we carry in our lives, and just something that I really struggled with in my life, and how God really has been bringing healing to this area of my life. So I hope this video can help you. I felt the Lord pressing it pretty heavily on my spirit. In fact, there may have been similar things I said in my video called What the Lord Placed on My Heart, but the fact that I feel this message kind of keep coming up to speak about it, you know, I think really is an indicator that it's something that the Lord really wants us to really take in and know. And so, so, and this can also be kind of like a continuation of my video. Here's the thing. So, like, I made a video called, I think it's called If You Are Single and Feel Alone. I talk somewhat about like singleness and things. There was a lot more I wanted to like say, but I didn't have like my journal right by me with like all my notes and stuff. But there was more I wanted to say. I probably will end up making that video at some point, but this video is kind of somewhat related to that. Today I'm going to talk more about beliefs and things like that, and pain that we carry and stuff when it comes to love, and not only how it affects like how we view the world, how we view ourselves, how we view relationships, but also our relationship with God and His love for us. So I really hope you'll keep watching this video. This is something the Lord has shown me and reminded me of, but it hasn't been until recently where I've just really felt things just really sinking in, and not only like bringing healing internally to me and to my heart and my mind, but literally seeing like things change in like my external world almost in a sense, because I'm not carrying the same beliefs that I am, because the Lord is healing all that stuff internally that I have carried for so long, that has brought a lot of shame and just feeling really low about myself. So regardless, like if you do struggle with that or not, I just hope you'll keep watching this video, because I think that this is not only really important in our lives, but I think it's just a really huge topic that has just literally been life changing in my life. So yeah, and also another thing, like the Lord has been trying to show me this for like a long time, but even within the span of like a year or less or so, I mean, the Lord has completely just shifted things and has been bringing healing to an area of my life, this area of my life, that I didn't know if I would ever feel this way. So I wanted to share this message can also relate to feeling safe in life, feeling safe with God, and just knowing knowing a security of love and knowing how loved you are. Again, I'm going to go into things deeper, but this can also relate to that series that I've kind of been doing on my channel, but this could also relate to even what I've been talking about in terms of spiritual warfare and things and the enemy. Just because I believe the enemy, that's one of the huge lies that he tries to make us feel, is that we are unloved if we've been through certain things. And I believe it's one of the ways he really tries to make us feel bad about ourselves and through things that we have been through and all that stuff. So I'm going to get into that in this video. I want to stop the rambling, but I really hope you'll continue watching this video, and I really hope that this can be helpful to you. The way that the Lord has used it to shift my life, a lot of the ways that I used to think about myself and my life. So here we go. So I started thinking about love. I started thinking about the Lord's love. And basically, I started thinking about all the things that like I have been through. I started thinking about the lies that I learned to believe because of experiences I had been through, that, you know, one, because of things I felt about myself. For so long I felt like the Lord couldn't love me. I don't know if anyone can relate, but for me, I used to bring all these reasons why I felt like, he couldn't love me. Like I messed up so much. Or I'd been through certain experiences and I questioned how God could love me if I'd been through certain things. But I really, questioned that. Sometimes in the church, Christianity, we're taught to be this certain person for God. We are taught to just do all these things for God, be a certain person for God. And I had done that for so long. But I didn't understand God. He wanted a deeper relationship with me. And He wanted me to really know that that relationship isn't based on my performance, but it's based on His unconditional, unfailing love. And I learned that I could just come to God as I am. Not just one day, but every single day. When I wake up in the morning, when I go to bed at night, in the middle of the day, I can just come to God as I am. That He's waiting in His love for me. And it's been huge. That I could just, might need to find some notes on that. But that all the expectations and standards that I had been trying so hard to live up to, I could just let them fall to the ground. And that was terrifying. Because a lot of times, if you can relate, we learn to see God and we think, if I don't live up to all these expectations, all these standards, all these things I'm taught in the church, then God won't love me as much, or God will be upset at me, or God will be looking down on me. God, like I won't have so much favor with God. What I have learned in my life, I see the words in the Bible. God is love. He is love. He is the embodiment of perfect unfailing love. He is the author of love. Without God, love itself would cease to exist. God wanted me just as I was, just as I am. And I want you to understand that He wants you just as you are too. No matter how much you feel like you've messed up, He wants you just as you are, every piece of you. So, I'm sorry, guys, I'm like fixing my train of thought, and I guess I'm trying not to. See, God sees us. Sometimes we think He doesn't. When we feel forgotten, or we're going through times in our life of deep pain, God sees when we have been through pain and trauma. He sees when we were not loved the way that we longed to be. That unconditional love, that love that is always waiting for us. So often, because of what we're taught in the church and what we're taught in Christianity, we try so hard to be this certain person for God. And a lot of times, if that's how it was, like in like your house, if that's what things were like with your parents, where you never felt like you were good enough, where you felt like you had to earn their love in some way, a lot of times what will happen, or kind of whatever you experience in those first experiences of love, or if you had caretakers, but your first experiences of how you learned about love, the way you were loved, a lot of times what will happen is we'll take those experiences and we'll start to view God through that lens, and we'll start to see His love through that lens. And in the church and Christianity, when you have these messages a lot of times being pushed about doing all these things for God, being a certain way for God, a lot of times what we will do and what the church and Christianity will kind of do itself is feel like if you're not doing all these things, if you're not being this certain person for God, that, like I said, God is disappointed in you, God is looking down on you, God is upsetting. Or it's not okay for you to, feel like truly, truly loved and accepted by God if you are struggling with certain things. Depending on, what you've heard in your life, depending on the church you've gone to, etc. But God is the person that sees us doing all these things, sees us trying to be this person, trying to just be loved by Him, trying to have this kind of relationship we think He wants with us. And I'm not saying, having a relationship with God, living for God, doing things for God is not a part of it. But I really believe He, as His children, He wants to call us into this deeper relationship that is completely honest, where we come exactly as we are to Him. See, He sees when we're trying so hard to be that person we think He wants us to be. He sees us like longing for that love. He sees us when we're looking for that love that maybe we didn't receive from people in our life, or maybe we never received in our life. He's looking at us. He sees when our hearts get broken repeatedly. When we're looking for someone to just love us in the midst of our mess, in the midst of our sinfulness, in the midst of our brokenness, when we feel too broken to be loved. He sees all that, and He sees when we are struggling with different things, including when we hurt other people. And He knows that a lot of the time, those things that we struggle with are the ways that we may hurt other people, right? Because people that are hurt, people that are in pain, will hurt other people because they're behaving and reacting from that place of trauma, from that place of pain. And we see this when it comes to families. We see parents treat a child a certain way, and then what happens? That child, may pass on what they learned in that sense, like how they were treated. They may treat their children that way again. It coming from that place of pain, and then the cycle may get repeated, like generationally, from family to family to family to family, till that cycle breaks, till someone breaks that cycle. But we see that happen in that sense. He knows that when those things happen, He knows that when we react from that place, even when we hurt people, he's grieved, but at the same time, He sees your pain. He sees our pain that we are carrying, that trauma that we've experienced in our life, that we're reacting from that place of pain, that place of trauma. He sees that. Even when you feel like no one could love you, even when you feel like there are parts of you that cannot be loved, even when you feel like you have to hide certain parts of yourself from God, He already sees it. He says He loves you. You see that in His word, that He says He loves us. The Bible says He loved us at our darkest. But God sees you. He sees all those parts of you. He sees when we're reacting from that place of pain. He's that person waiting in His love for you, even in those moments where you feel completely ashamed, where you feel like you can't stand to look at yourself. When you or crying into your pillow and feel like no one could love you. He is that person waiting in his love for you, reminding you he loves you. He loves you. Reminding you he forgives you. I want you to understand that. And I want you to understand that he sees that love that you long for, that maybe you've never received in your life. And maybe, you are not receiving in your life. Maybe you have looked for that and people have hurt you repeatedly over and over again. He is that person. He is that person that wants to love you. When people have hurt you, when people have turned their back on you, you feel like you have no one, when you feel completely alone, even when you feel like you push people away. He is that person waiting in your deepest shame, finding how much you are worth to him, how much he loves you. You feel like you messed up too much. It's that one waiting to embrace you, not to point out everything you're doing, not to look down on you, get mad at you, but love you, because he knows that his love is what you need most, is what you long for. It's that unconditional love that is always waiting for you, no matter what you've done, always waiting to embrace you. That love that no matter who comes and goes in your life, no matter how people treat you, that love, that person that will never leave you nor forsake you, never leave you no matter what you've done. His love is constant. He wants to love. I want you to take that in. I want you to take that in, that you can have this relationship with God where just come to him, receive that. When you're, or when we feel like God can't love us for whatever reason we have, when we're hurting, we're in pain, and I went through times in my life where my heart was so closed off. I didn't even know how to receive love, let alone God's love for me. When I felt like I had messed up so much, I didn't know how to take in his love, right? And when we don't receive human love, or we receive it and kind of different ways, confusing ways, etc. Whatever your life has been regarding that, we have a hard time believing that God could even love us, or we have a hard time believing anyone could love us, be treated like that by humans, let alone how a holy, perfect God could love us. And what happens is we'll be in our lives, we'll be hurting, we'll be in pain, have all these people that have hurt us, or we'll feel like we messed up so much, feel buried in shame. The Lord is like the person gently knocking on the doors of our heart, asking us to let, because He sees that pain that you've been through. He sees that pain you're carrying. He sees how when we are desperate for love, we're looking for love from people. Don't see that. He sees when people stop talking to you. He sees when people have hurt you, when people don't have good intentions for you. He sees when we feel empty inside and we're just looking for a love that is secure. That's always waiting for us. That is unconditional. No matter what we've done, no matter what we've said, that love is always present. He sees when we're in all that pain. And even if it's not from people in your life, like, even if we're just talking about pain from your life, even if we're not talking about like people that have hurt you, He sees when you're in all that pain. He sees when you're crying on your bed, just sobbing, feeling like you have no one, feeling like no one loves you, feeling like you just keep getting hurt repeatedly over and over again. He sees you. And He is that person gently inviting you to come to Him, gently knocking on the doors of your heart to let Him. Though your heart feels closed off, that your heart feels walled off, though you may have been hurt so many times that you feel like your trust is just broken and you don't know how to let anyone. I speak from personal experience. He is the person gently knocking on the doors of your heart to let that He wants to love you, not to point out everything you do, not to show you in anger or disappoint or to be upset at you, but to remind you He understands your pain. You see, Jesus, He was betrayed by His disciple, And his other disciples, they couldn't even stay up with him to pray. And that was the night before, he was going to have to go to the cross. He's going to die for the sins of the world. We see the Pharisees were constantly accusing him. We see people were mocking him, spitting on him, pierced him, delivered him into the hands of crucifixion, denying him. I believe Jesus is the person that he understands that. He is the person gently knocking on the doors of your heart, reminding you he knows that pain. And he sees you looking for love and just getting hurt. Because people are reacting from their own place of pain, their own place of trauma. He is the one reminding you, let him. Because he wants to love you in the way that your heart is just a longing for. Your heart sometimes just feels desperate for it. He wants to love you in that way. To embrace you, to love you, to encourage you, to build you up, to remind you his unconditional love. That he is the person that will always love you. He is the person that will never forsake you. People that are reacting from pain that they've been through, experiences in their life. He sees when you feel unwanted, when you're mistreated, when you feel rejected. And I believe not only does God want to lead us to the people in our lives that are going to treat us with love and respect, but I also believe when this has happened, it can feel so closed off. Cannot want to let God in sometimes. God is the only person that can reach those deepest places inside of us. He just wants to love you just as you are. He wants to love you in the way that you've always wanted to. He sees also when we are reacting from a place of trauma and pain, when we feel like we messed up so much. He sees where that's really coming. He knows what we do. And he knows that what we need most is love. His unconditional to love us in that pain, to love us in that shame, to love us those parts of us those parts of us that didn't feel loved, and those parts of us that may be reacting from that place of trauma, or just in different ways. It doesn't always have to be like reacting. It's just those parts of us that we feel like couldn't be loved. Those parts of us that we carry a lot of pain regarding the things we've been through, regarding things we've been told, regarding ways we've been treated. Those parts of us we think can't be loved. Those parts of us that we feel are too dark. Those parts of us that we feel like no one can see. Those parts of us that we feel like no one can know about us. Those secrets that we keep, etc. He wants to love you, all those parts of you. He wants to show you even those parts of you are loved by him. That are darkest, loved. He wants to love you in those broken places, in those places where you feel like that. In those places where you feel like you've messed up so much, in those places where you're carrying such deep shame. He wants to love you. You can't do anything to change his love for you. You can't do anything to escape his love. He will always love you. He will always love you. His love is eternal for you. He will never stop loving. So, I hope if you're going through any of this, now, this wasn't quite the message that I was going to say, but I think I'm going to have to split it up into two parts. There must be a reason why this is the message that came out. But if you are going through this, or going through any kind of pain, I want you to be reminded of and understand that He wants to love you. He wants to love you. That way you're looking for someone else to embrace you, to love you, to build you up, to have someone to talk to that supports you, that loves you no matter what, that will never, that is always waiting to embrace you. He is that person. And I want you to understand that you can live from this place, you can live this relationship with God where you learn to come to Him this way, where you learn to come to Him just as you are, where just can stop being this person that you've been trying to be for Him for so long, thinking that then you will feel more loved by Him. Because His love is constant and unconditional. And He already loves you infinitely. Nothing you do can make Him love you any less. He is that person waiting in your deepest shame and mistakes, in the same love that He is waiting for when you feel like you are being the person you feel like He wants you to be. He loves you so much. He wants to love you. If you've ever looked for someone to love you and haven't received that, or you still feel empty, you feel like there's just so much of love that you, I want you to know that you don't have to feel guilty or ashamed of that, okay? But I want you to understand that He wants to fill your heart. He wants to love you. He wants to fill your heart with His love. He wants to bring that healing and restoration through your heart. He wants to love you in that way you're looking to be loved. That love that you seek, that love that you look for, is right where you are this moment and every. His love is waiting with wide open arms. And you can have this relationship with God where you know that when you come to Him, similar to the story of the prodigal son, He's waiting for you in His love to immediately embrace you, to hug you, to kiss you, to just be overjoyed that He gets to be with you, His child, His son or daughter, that He gets to be with you forever, that He gets to love you forever. And every day He longs to show you that love that He has for you. No matter how people have treated you, that you would know that my Father loves me so much. He longs for you to know that love. I hope you guys know that you're so loved, that you're wanted by Him. He wants to love you. Never felt that in life, if you've never felt like anyone has ever wanted to love you, to be your friend, to talk to you, to be emotional support, I want you to know that He wants to love you. He wants to be your friend. He wants to talk to you. He wants to support you and encourage you and just love you the way that your heart has longed for. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are all doing all right. God bless you guys.